Okay, this is the Shepherd from WeLoveMetal.com, and we have the opportunity to talk with Pete Lesperance from Harem Scarem. Pete, thanks for taking some time to talk with us and our listeners and our readers.
Oh, thank you, man.
So what's going on in the world of Harem Scarem right now, besides obviously the new album?
Well, the new album is on deck, obviously. It's going to be out in I think 20 days or something like that. We're just waiting for that to happen. We've been doing a pledge music thing. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's like a Kickstarter program for music. So we still have some label support in Europe and Japan, but we have also been doing our own kind of Kickstarter program to reconnect with our fans, and that's actually taking up a fair bit of time as well, just kind of getting everything together with that, because we're doing all these video updates, and we have to get a bunch of merch together and stuff for when the album is released. So we're busy working on that, so that's kind of taking up our time.
Excellent. Well, if we talk about 13 right off the bat here, I think Garden of Eden has all the elements of an incredible song. Great guitar, the vocals are smooth, it's catchy, it's something that stays in your head. I think it's such a strong song. Is there ever any danger leading with such a strong card, if you will, to open up an album?
Well, you know what? I mean, in all honesty, it's hard to say, because so many people with this album have had it's been a very favorites. You know, I mean, everybody has a different favorite, it seems. So to say, we didn't really think Garden of Eden was necessarily the best song. We may have thought it was the most likely or the closest thing to a lead-off sort of single that we had, or maybe one of three, and then we allowed the labels to give us their input. We have some people we trust, because it's just one of those things. You're just too close to the music when you're making it. You can get it down to a certain amount, but to know what's really going to connect with a listener, it's so difficult when you're the one making music.
Sure. Well, you guys have a formula. I would say, I don't know if it's a formula, but you have an incredible knack for, I like to use the word power ballads. I think that, how do you make sure that they're memorable, they last? Because you guys have been doing it for years. You make some really impactful songs that have that slower melodic feel to them.
Well, it's one of those things. I mean, it's songwriting is everything to us, obviously, because we feel, whether it's a ballad or even a rock tune, whatever it is, unless it's memorable and unless it's something that is going to stick with people, it's kind of what's the point? You know what I mean? You want to connect with people, so we try to keep the same level of songwriting for everything. And that just seems to be an area where, like the mid-tempo stuff, Strangers in Love, the ballad, even Whatever It Takes on myself, love the song, and I can say that because Harry wrote it. So, but you know what I mean? I think our world is melody, and I think in a slower, kind of medium-paced tempo, you can really focus on that sort of thing. It's not about a guitar riff. It's not about it's about the melody, and that's your focus, and I think it really comes across.
It certainly does. One of the things I really like about this album, I like the transparency and the sincerity of the song The Midnight Hours. As a band, or even as an individual, if it's not too personal of a question, what have been any tough realizations you've had during some of your midnight hours?
Wow, okay. Well, the most obvious one is my choice of vocation. The music industry, obviously, these days, and for quite some time now, and knock on wood, we've been very fortunate. We have a long-standing career that we're still hanging on to, still enjoying, and still getting to make music and make a living at it. But this business is the cause for many late nights. For much time spent up where you should be sleep. Put it that way.
Okay. With all the hardships of it, what are the biggest blessings of it?
The biggest blessings? Oh my God, man! I mean, it's just doing what you love. You know what I mean? I've never really worked. I haven't had a job since I was a kid. I sold guitars until I was about 18, and then I've never, this is what I do. This is my job, and I am so blessed to be able to wake up every day make music, try to make music, help other people make music, whatever I'm doing. I mean, there's just no bigger upside than that. I get to enjoy every day that way. So,
did you know early that this would be your path in life, or what? Did something click for you and you said, "Yeah, I got to go this route"?
Yeah, I was actually quite young. My mother made me play guitar when I was 8 because I wasn't into sports and I didn't do a whole lot of that kind of stuff. But she figured I should do something. So my father was a bit of a country guitar player, 3-chord kind of guy, but we had a guitar around the house, so she decided that I should start playing guitar. So I started playing guitar at 8. And about 3 years later, I went and saw Kish for the first time. It was my first concert. My parents took me. I was 11. 1979, I went and saw the Dynasty tour, and I looked at Gene Simmons and I went, I want to do that. And it totally changed my life. And all of a sudden, I really became interested in music and the guitar. Like before that, just, I had to do it. It was something that it was, just one of those things like chores kind of,
Sure.
And then everything changed from that point. And,
wow.
A lot more into it. So that was the turning point, I guess.
Boy, I think Kiss has probably been one of, if not the band, that I've heard that more from musicians that this was my gateway. This is what turned me on to it. So, boy, credit.
Maybe not. I don't know whether to thank them or call them, no, the music. It's great, though. I mean, yeah, they were so influential, and not only that, they were just so much larger than life. I mean,
yeah.
You can go see another band and not be moved at all, but then I was a kid. I think the band that opened for them was called New England. I don't even remember them. Don't remember anything about them. It just came on. It was just another animal. And yeah, man, there's no doubt they inspired a lot of musicians.
Absolutely. One of the things I think that you guys are incredibly adept at, I think 13 comes across so well because there's nothing about it that feels forced. Nothing about it feels overdone. Would you say that's because you're a veteran band, that you're just in command and control and know what you do?
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of where it starts. And basically, we didn't have to make this record. We just quit, you know what I mean? So what we did is when we decided we were going to do this, we just started writing songs. And we basically, Harry and I talked about it, and we knew that if it didn't come together and we didn't like what we were doing, or, for whatever reason, if we weren't feeling it, just weren't going to do it.
Okay.
Luckily, I mean, I started writing a lot of the musical ideas for this when we were on tour in Europe for the Mood Swings 2 record, so I was quite inspired by the band, and that is the honest to God truth. I know it sounds so cheesy, I want to puke every time I hear myself saying it, but it's the truth, man. You're up on stage and you're looking down at these people 20 years after this album that they heard for whatever reason they still care about. Hell yeah, as a musician, it's an inspiring thing. And there doesn't have to be, 80,000 of them in the audience. There could be 500, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And just to know that you're touching people, that's kind of, you can't ask for more than that. So we were inspired, and I think it comes out again. I think it's crept into the music, and I think that's why it sounds like we actually give a shit.
Yeah, well, it does. It feels honest. I obviously review a lot of music and listen to a lot of music and enjoy a lot of it, but sometimes it doesn't feel quite as natural. And there's just a natural ease to what you guys do, and it makes the listener, kind of gel with it. And I think that's probably a talent that many don't have. So kudos to you guys.
Well, thank you, man. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. It's pretty early in the game, so we haven't had a whole lot of feedback yet. Harry and I do things in a pretty insular way, and a lot of people don't hear anything until it's finished. So we've been getting some really good feedback from the press and from people we trust, to tell us the truth about our music. And people seem to be really digging it. So which is obviously making us more excited about the prospect of getting it out there and touring and all that stuff. So.
Good. Well, with you guys in the studio, if I'm right, you play bass, guitar, and work on keyboards all for the cause. Is that true?
Yep.
Yeah. So, what is that an advantage in the studio then, to know that you're going to blend this sound with that sound because it's all in your head, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's knowing the way it all kind of fits together, and that's part of more of a production idea than anything. I just, instead of asking a bass player to play something, I would just play it. And I mean, I do when I'm tracking stuff for other people or doing session work. I mean, I do a lot of bass playing as well. So it was the obvious choice, and mostly for no other reason than we don't have a bass player. I mean, Harem Scarem is a bit of a, it's still a bit of a project. You know, I mean, we are a band because the people that are involved and invested and have been around for, you know, at the very least, probably 10 years. I mean, I think Creighton's been our drummer for maybe 10, 15 years now, you know. And obviously Darren Smith has been around forever too, and his vocals are a huge part of our sound. When Harry and him sing together and do the big backup thing, that's a huge part of what we do. So it's a project. It's a weird thing. It's mine and Harry's band, I guess, and we include the people that we love and enjoy their talent, you know. So it's a different sort of situation, I guess.
Since you've been in the business for so many years, what's changed in a positive way over that time, and what's been maybe more challenging now?
Well, I mean, the technology, you know, is a total double-edged sword. It's amazing for the recording process. I mean, I record all my parts for the record and, you know, 99% of the music other than the drums in my studio at home. So it's amazing that I can do that, even in the old days, or even old days for us. You know what I mean? We all had to go to the studio. We all had to be together. We all had to do it this certain way, which is totally cool. But on a regular basis, the technology has changed it in a very positive way. And the other side of the coin is, of course, that it has destroyed the music business. So, you know, as an artist and a creator, I love the technology. As somebody trying to make a living in this business, it's horrible. But then back again to the other side, I'm doing a whole lot of recording guitars for people over the internet. I'm doing recording for people in the States and in Europe that I could never connect with, and it would never be, you know, financially feasible for me to fly over and play on a record. And now they email me and I'm playing on their shit that afternoon, you know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. That end of it's very cool, actually, from a creator's perspective.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's not, you know, someone that's not a musician like myself. I guess I never considered that you could just be digitally, presented something with an opportunity and then be in your own space and then throw back out what you
have. It happens all the time, man. People, you know, they'll call, ask if I want to play on something. I'll say yes. They'll say, I'm going to send you the tracks. If you like it, they'll send me the tracks. If I like it, I say yes. And the next thing you know, I'm recording guitars on it from Bob your uncle. It's incredible. Like, at the speed at which things can happen. And I mean, you know, obviously, it has its downside too, but I'm just trying to make the best of all the good stuff, you know, like the technology is amazing. When I think back to being a kid and having a band in the beginning and, you know, Facebook and all that stuff, if we had had all those things available to us, oh my God, man, it would have been like a kid in a candy store. You know, you just could have done everything and built it as big as you wanted and as big as you could. It is very exciting, but the problem is that it's really not all the money in the industry.
Right.
And, you know, those are also the two sides of the industry, the art and the money. Very different.
Speaking of art, what inspirations do you gather? Where do you gather inspiration for songwriting?
Well, you know, I don't know. I don't really know. It's one of those things. I love playing guitar, and I play guitar probably, you know, a good 7-8 hours a day still. My wife would attest to that. And I don't listen to a lot of rock music, and I'm not inspired by a lot of rock music, to be completely frank. I just get inspired by playing guitar. And songs, I love songs, obviously. I don't listen to a lot of your traditional kind of classic rock or AOR stuff, but obviously the stuff I listen to, I feel is great songwriting. And, you know, it's a combination of those two things. It's knowing that I want whatever song we're working on to be cohesive and a good song, timeless style song, you know what I mean? But then the guitar player in me wants to do something that's going to excite guitar players the way I was excited when I was a kid playing guitar. So that's kind of, I think that's what happens. It's a combination of music that has nothing to do with the kind of music I'm creating and adding the guitar player aspect to that. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, sure. Well, speaking of, going back to the album a little bit, great songwriting. You mentioned Whatever It Takes. That that's one of those kind of melty dreamer songs there. When you approach that song, how does it come about as far as a collaborative process? Do you bring what you have, Harry brings what he has, or how does it all kind of spin together?
Well, again, that's the only song on the record that we didn't write together. Harry kind of wrote that already. He was done, and basically he would send me a track with a piano and a vocal, and then I would build the track around it. And I go, okay, well, this is what's going on in the song, and this is what it needs for guitar. And in situations like that, usually when Harry writes a song, it's just written top to bottom, at least melodically, and then I fill in whatever gaps are left. But it's not, we don't consider that writing. The song came from Harry, and that's kind of how it works. So it speaks every song, like whether you're doing, your own stuff or session work for other people. When you hear stuff, it speaks to you, and you just know, or I feel like I know what I need to play to that, and then I run through a few ideas, but it always finds its way, and the song inspires you to play a certain thing or a certain way.
Okay. I got a kind of a strange question. Maybe it's not strange, but we've talked about the importance of certain types of song being lead songs, and I know bands, they sequence songs in a certain way a lot of the time for feel. Is the last song on the album as important as the first one? Because I think Stardust is an incredibly good song all its own. It's not, okay, here's the end of the album. Do you guys approach it that way, almost like maybe a baseball manager with a lineup? I don't know if that's a good analogy, but is there a lot of importance?
I think that's a great analogy. I mean, you're playing for the whole game, right? You're not just playing for the first inning. You're kind of going out. You want to put, obviously, it's a weird thing. There is a bit of a formula to it. People front load their records a bit. We wouldn't finish songs if we didn't think they were all of a certain level, you know what I mean? And then maybe 2 or 3 or 4 rise up a little bit above that, and those are the ones that become your key tracks, and that does generally happen for everybody. As far as Stardust, it just made so much sense. I mean, it's just everything about it. It's a comment on how insignificant, and you know what I mean. But it still has hope, and it just felt like a great way to go out, leaving with that. And it's actually probably one of my top 2 favorite songs on the record. So,
all right.
You know what I mean? We felt very strongly about it. We knew it was one of our favorites, but it was a bit more epic than the other ones, and it just felt like a good way to go out.
So people out there, when you read this, hear this, pay attention to that. Don't skip out on the last part, because you're going to miss it. I really like Stardust. I think it really is. You have a great, opening. You have a great closing, and then in the middle, you've got some great things there, that's why it's such a great album.
Well, again, that was our whole plan in the beginning. Like I said, we didn't say, hey, we're making a record. We said, hey, let's write a song. And if we didn't get the songs that would make a whole record, we wouldn't do one. And that was basically our criteria. So, I'm glad to hear that it feels that way, and that nobody's like, it's got 2 songs on it, or it's got 3 songs on it. Everybody has a different favorite, and it's pretty cool. It's, like I said, it's quite a perspective coming out of finishing it and actually getting some feedback on it now. It's quite enjoyable for me.
I think it'll be enjoyable for a lot of people, and I wish you guys a lot of luck with this. It's a great album for, like I said, people out there. 13 is the album, Harem Scarem. It's a great, great listen. Give it a shot here. Do you guys have plans? I know we got to wrap up here pretty soon. Are there plans as far as hitting the road or some places to see you live?
You know what? We're looking at it. We are starting to talk about a little bit of a Japanese tour, probably in the area of May. So Europe potentially will be around that as well. There's going to be stuff. We're going to be doing stuff for sure.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. You've got a great finished product, and I hope that people get a chance to listen to it. I know they won't be disappointed. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot, man. Have a great night.
You too. Bye now.